Welcome everybody to Zeta Global Radio. I am your host, Lainey Savante Wolkin, and I am just going to encourage everybody, along with myself, to take a huge deep breath right now, because we've once again have had an incredible week of influx on the planet, from the horrific Las Vegas tragedy, complete massacre, to Tom Petty passing, to all of us grippingly watching the news, checking out social media, and feeling such a sense of sadness. And it's the perfect topic for us to share today about toxicity, because we are dealing with so much toxicity in the world, whether it's what we're eating, what we're seeing, what we're feeling, what we're emotionally experiencing, what we're reading. And that takes a toll on us in so many ways. And so today we're going to be sharing insight all about toxicity, all about detoxing, and really getting a full understanding that it's not just one area of our life that is affected. It's not just our physical system by the food we eat. It's really the four-prong approach. It's spiritual, it's mental, it's emotional, and it's physical. And it's so critical, particularly now these days, as we're in such very turbulent times, to understand what we can do to fortify our own bodies, our own minds, our own souls, and come back to a place where we feel healthy, free of the toxicity that is either around us or that we are inadvertently putting in our system. So with that said, I am so pleased to announce our special guest today, Lucille Trice. She is a long-standing nurse, over 24 years. She's a practical nurse. She's a licensed massage therapist, a certified lymphatic therapist, full esthetician in the state of Florida. She also served for many years in the United States Army. She has had quite a background and has worked in all these realms, and we're going to spend the whole hour today sharing all different ways to relax, repair, rejuvenate ourselves, and start the business of detoxing from what's in our world. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Lucille Trice.
Thank you very much.
Hi, how are you doing today, Lucille? Are you feeling detoxed? Are you feeling caught up in what's been happening in the world this week?
That's a tricky question. Detox actually is something that should be practiced every day. It's not like a one-time event, but it's difficult. It's difficult. You know, you wake up in the morning, there's a fear that there's a new event. We never expect to hear the bad news. It's kind of attention-grabbing, of course. So it's hard to allow the emotions without letting it consume you.
Yeah.
But you wake up in the morning with a positive attitude. Take a deep breath, and kind of take the bull by the horns and process the day as it goes. So this morning I woke up and I was feeling thankful. Thankful that I'm in my home, in my bed. I look out the window and the sun is shining. I take a deep breath and I'm able to exhale. So far it's a good day. But once I get out on the road, I'll be talking about the recent events and processing those emotions and helping others process theirs.
So just to talk a little bit more about you, why don't you share with our listeners, I know I just briefly touched on your extensive background, but just a little bit more about yourself and what sort of led you to be more enlightened in the work that you do and bring forward some of these important principles we're going to share here today.
Well, I'll start off with, first of all, I am a first-generation Dominican. I was born in New York in the 60s. No stress there. Ha ha. But when I started to go to college, I started as a nursing student and looking for a minor degree in dance. Cool combination. I started to get stressed out about the responsibility of being a young, independent person and needed a vacation, believe it or not, decided to join the Army. I became a medic first while there and processed through to become a nurse, and then got my civilian license and started practicing up and down the East Coast as well as Europe. So I got to see a lot, learn a lot. Then I settled here in Florida and worked for the Lee Memorial Healthcare System. And somewhere in that process, there were things happening like I didn't have time to give someone a back rub if they asked for it, a foot rub if they asked for it, or just sit down and let them express to me the emotions that they were dealing with that affects their health.
Yes.
That's not what I wanted to do. I understood, with that background, I understood that all these things go together. And I was feeling that my calling was to help others, but not under that type of duress for me. Other people love the adrenaline rush, but that wasn't what I was looking for. So I walked away from the Lee Memorial Healthcare System in 2012 and looked for a way that I can help others under my terms. And that's where I started to really get into educating myself about holistic ways of finding positive results. Using Western medicine, also using Eastern medicine. So that's where my journey is taking me, and I'm really happy, really happy. Every day I go into work with a smile, and I'm leaving with a smile and communicating with people and, allowing the process and giving them the tools, not only to get the help, but to help themselves. So.
And then thank you for that. Thanks for sharing. That always helps us understand what you're sharing with us and how, where it comes from. And I love to always ask people, is there a point in their life, particularly the people who come on our show are very spiritually enlightened beings. They're very conscious, not only of themselves, but their surroundings. Is there a point in your life where that woke up for you, or this has always been a part of who you are in terms of just being a spiritually conscious being and awake in that sense?
For the majority of my life, I would say that was just part of my being. The matriarchs in my life have been a huge influence. Having the roots of the islands, they were very into herbs and tinctures and other things besides aspirins, and so that was always part of the way we help the body. But the turning point was that, every time I think about it, that's what comes back to mind, not having 5 minutes to give someone the help that they're asking for.
So today we're going to bring it forward, everything that you've amassed, everyone's feelings about what the word detox is. And I guess I can't really know what detox is unless we start with what toxicity is, because what are we detoxing of? So I'd love to just maybe go through in the couple minutes we have left, and then we're going to take a break, just sort of a sense of how you'd like to roadmap today to share with our audience how important it is that all the areas of our well-being are covered, not just the physical.
Detoxification, basically speaking, refers to the cleansing or purification process that involves the transformation of or elimination of bodily wastes, toxins that accumulate that impair physical organ function, that can also affect mental well-being and cognitive functions. An example would be how stress increases metabolic responses, causes inflammation. It's something that can't be easily gotten rid of. Say, for instance, the range would cause minor aches and pains to major health concerns like heart disease, digestive disorders, respiratory and skin problems, that sort of thing.
Do you feel that emotions are as equal to what we digest? Are they? It is, okay, because I think people don't realize that, and I think that's something I really want to touch on today, is it's not just putting adverse foods or drink or substances in our body, but it's also how we emotionally process, and mentally too, as well. So we're gonna touch on all that. So why don't we do this? We're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back, we're just going to jump right into one of the topics. We're going to cover them all today. So you're listening to Zeta Global Radio. We'll be back in a moment. The Sun, Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess, or the Hangman. If you're one of the thousands of tarot enthusiasts out there, you know these are just a few of the major arcana in a tarot deck. Also known as cartomancy, reading a tarot, Lenormand, Kipper, and Oracle decks are as popular as they ever were and even becoming more mainstream in today's modern world. We now invite you to delve further into this ancient practice by reading our quarterly printed magazine called The Cartomancer. Filled with interviews, product reviews, in-depth articles, and art, The Cartomancer has something for everyone, from beginner to professional. Our subscription-only magazine can be found at thecartomancer.com. And right now, we're offering ZGR listeners a special sneak peek at one of our digital issues. Just log on to thecartomancer.com/ZGR, all caps, and enjoy a copy today.
Welcome to the Natural Awakenings New Mexico September Yoga and Graceful Aging issue. This month, international yogi Rodney Yee leads the way with his strategies about staying on track, plus we highlight local yoga studios who are sharing their philosophies, workshops, and classes. Our feature article was about ways of graceful aging, supported by Dr. Joan Borisenko, a pioneer in the field of integrative medicine who gives practical, healthy lifestyle advice. Mystical scholar and spiritual teacher Andrew Harvey shares his passionate thoughts on what it takes to be a conscious elder. In addition, an exclusive interview with Malika Chopra about a path to intent, wisdom healing qigong, flotation tanks, and many local news pieces and events. Pick up your free copy now. For guidance on marketing your business and a cost-effective way to reach thousands of readers, please email publisher at naturalawakeningsnnm.com or call Andrea at 505-999-1319.
Hi everyone, Lainey Savante Walken here, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about a female networking group that I've been involved with for many years now. And if you've been looking to connect with other fellow women owners and executives, both locally in your city or across the country, please consider FemCity. It is an incredible network founded by Violet Day Ayala. They have over 100,000 women with chapters in most major cities nationwide in Canada. FemCity focuses on growing all of our businesses. It's an incredible, vast network for and by members who are experts in health and wellness, spiritual, cultural and lifestyle, financial, corporate fields, media, so much more. Business for your soul is the tagline. It's just incredible. I love it. I know you'll love it. I'm a global lifetime member. I hope you check it out. Visit them today at femcity.com and learn how you can become part of an organization that continues to soar and expand so you can too. Welcome back to ZGR. Lainey Savante here with Lucille Trice. And if you're just tuning in, today is all about toxicity and releasing it through many different processes of detox, and we're going to talk about it all. So where we left off is talking about the fact that it's not just what you ingest, it's also what you think, it's also what you feel, also what you experience from others towards you. So let's just get into, we left off with emotional, so let's maybe just pick up from there and talk about how emotional toxicity affects us and what we can do to maybe some best practices or ways you feel that are best for us to detox from emotional toxicity.
Okay, so emotion, every feeling you have affects some part of your body. Stress is defined as any real or imagined threat. Causes something called fight or flight response, but we'll get into that in a minute. The ways that stress can affect you physically, or emotional stress can affect you physically. After losing a loved one, your risk of suffering a heart attack can increase by 21 times. It causes stress hormone, which is cortisol, to increase. Again, the fight or flight kicks in. Fight or flight is called hyperarousal, or the acute stress response. It's a psychological reaction that occurs in response to a perceived harmful event, attack, or threat, or survival. It was first described by Walter Bradford Cannon, and it's something that happens whether you are seeing something visually or experiencing something physically. It increases inflammation, it decreases your immune system, increases your blood pressure, increases your cholesterol level. Cortisol is one of those hormones that is increased by that, and it actually can help you gain weight, holding on to different chemicals in your body, but the cortisol is actually responsible for increasing your weight.
We just all experienced Hurricane Irma, and I just wonder, when you talk about that, the rise in cortisol and all the effects that something like that has had. To me, it was extremely devastating in terms of what I felt, the impact to me personally of feeling that fear. How long does something like that take to even subside or reduce? Or once it's there, it's there? Or how do people process that out? Is there a time factor?
Well, the thing, it's not a singular event. It's a cumulative. Yeah. It's a cumulative. There are certain things that happen throughout the hour, the day, the week. So it's not something like, say, if you detox today, will it be gone for an extended period of time? And that's why I believe that the detox process should happen as daily practice, not as, certainly, there are programs that help with detoxification, different treatments that have time where the process is happening. But for what we're doing at our holistic spa, we're going to the basics. We're helping people understand what they can do on a daily basis to help the process throughout their life, not just a one-time event. So stress accumulates actually in the fat cells, and the fat cells hold on to toxins for several days, not hours. So it takes a while to process that out. Something that can be used to help with the management of stress is something called emotional freedom technique, which is known as EFT, and that's just a technique that you can use to help your mental state come back to a state of relaxation and release. So that in doing that, you're actually lowering those hormones that are affected, and then lowering the negative effects throughout the body system. And it's something that takes very little time to practice on a daily basis, and you can practice it throughout the day even. And it does give you positive effects physically as well as mentally. Another technique that can be used is something called Reiki. This technique aids the body in releasing stress and tension, actually creates a deep, relaxing state that promotes the healing and improves the health, and also gives you that metabolic, physical response as well into relieving stress.
Great. I know that recently you had an event, and I know that's a very important aspect too, is the oils. You have that at your holistic spa.
Aromatherapy. Yeah, our event, we had the pleasure of having Bethany Gonzalez. She led us through meditation, which was a big help, and the use of aromatherapy through meditation.
I think that so many people don't realize how smelling is so important. Like when you breathe in and you smell those different oils, whether it's lavender or sage or any of the different ones, how that makes a difference in your emotions. And does that bring down cortisol levels? Does that bring things down?
It does. Actually, every smell has a frequency. That's part of the theory behind aromatherapy. Lavender has a specific frequency. Frankincense, specific frequency. And when the body smells it, it goes through the olfactory, the senses, directly into the brain. So the brain's receiving those messages through those frequencies immediately. And it kicks off responses that affect us chemically. And it's all part of that, bringing down the levels of cortisol, the stress factors like the fight or flight, and helps bring the body back to homeostasis, which is holistically good health.
We're actually going to have Bethany on the show next month, so we're going to dive deep into the oils. But why don't we talk about, of course, what you are so amazing at is massage and how important that is for your emotional toxicity, detox relief.
Well, yay. Massage is really old. It's one of the ancient techniques into holistic healing that helps with holistic healing. But basically, there are so many techniques for many different things that happen with the body, with the mind. Massage helps with circulation to increase blood flow, which increases oxygen intake, which increases nutrition into the cells of the body. For stress factor, it's flowing. It goes with, works well with the chakras. So it's all-encompassing, massage is. And people need many different types. For instance, deep tissue goes into the different layers of the muscle as well as tendons. You can do Swedish, which is just an overall circulatory, relaxing type of massage. There's trigger point. People carry a lot of tension, and if you've ever done it, which everything that you do, I know you have, you tend to accumulate tension in certain parts of the body, which are the neck, between the shoulder blades, the lower back, sometimes in the butt cheeks. So releasing that is part of what massage can help with. Trigger point actually goes into what people would call a knot that you just can't release, and that increases increases circulation to decrease the inflammation. It's kind of a feel so wonderful pain. because after that, everything starts to decrease. The inflammation decreases, all the hormonal changes start to decrease, and so you start to feel more relaxed and more flexible, hopefully.
Beautiful. All right, well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, let's talk more about, let's get into physical, like what is going on, particularly when we're having emotional toxicity and we're having mental. Most of the time we resort to bad behaviors, and that's where we start to ingest things that even create more toxicity. So we will talk about that with Lucille when we come back in a moment. Have you always wanted to learn how to meditate but don't know what to do with all the thinking? Do you wish you knew how to transcend the negative voices of your perfectionism, procrastination, anxiety, and critical self-talk? Do you have a creative project in mind but don't know where or how to start, or are lacking inspiration? Spiritual and creativity coach Hallie Bourne, with over 25 years of experience, can support you in finding more productive ways to care for your sensitive soul and your need to create. Unveil the ways your ego is sabotaging you and reorient towards your strengths to disempower your weaknesses. Turn your creativity into a spiritual path that infuses your life with meaning and fulfillment. Visit Hallie's website at hallieborn.com or call for a consultation at 505-249-4981 and get started with your inspired life today. Nourish yourself, mind, body, and soul at Southwest Florida's premier collective of therapists and healers at Escape to Paradise and Trice Massage Therapy, a sacred and nurturing spa to relax and rejuvenate your spirit. Receive a holistic healing facial, detoxifying body wrap, Reiki treatment, or choose from a variety of massage therapies to replenish, revitalize, and renew your body into total wellness. By appointment only and located just over the bridge at 1718 Cape Coral Parkway. See their Facebook specials online today and visit their full menu of services to book an escape at sparadice.skincaretherapy.net.
Hi, this is Dr. Judith Orloff, and you're listening to Zeta Global Radio.
Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. We are talking today about getting healthy, detoxing from all the toxicity in our life. And there's, of course, a lot out there that we can be feeling, seeing, and also taking accountability for our own intake of what we're digesting, what we're eating, what we're drinking, what we're breathing. So let's talk here. We're here with Lucille Trice, who's just been guiding us through all the different aspects to toxicity, because clearly it's not just one way. So let's talk now about the physical. We talked last segment about emotional, physical. What does that mean? Physical toxicity. And then what does it mean to detox from a physical buildup?
Okay, so in talking about the emotional, we were saying about the fight or flight response and how that tends to increase cortisol levels. While it's increasing cortisol levels, it also decreases serotonin levels. And serotonin is the feel-good hormone. So as we become depressed or we become tense, these things that are happening in the body with the hormones affects the way we react. Things like eating chocolate, which I love, helps me feel good, but it's helping me feel good because my serotonin increases with that. Positive things that happen, like when you exercise, serotonin goes up, cortisol goes down. So if you're not aware of what's actually happening, you're responding, your body's already telling you how to respond to get those levels up, which unfortunately is diet. We'll go to the things that we love, like pizza, donuts. Even if you're on a really good diet, overeating, even if you have the best menu in town, the overeating affects us because now you're taking in more calories. And it just changes your hormone levels to the point where now your metabolism is affecting your hormone levels. Not so much what you see and what's happening around you, but how your body is processing how you respond to that. Some of the ways is constipation. Some of the ways are urinary tract infections, and all that combined, throwing you off your menstrual period. Hormones work with that. All that combined increases the toxic levels in the body. People start to see it in their skin, rashes, severe acne. They start to see it in their overall look, bags under the eyes, dark circle under the eyes. All these things cause a disruption in the natural metabolic flow. So this is how stress and detoxification increases in the body. And the major organs that help us get rid of these toxins have a certain rhythm of how they work. So if you're doing this over time, the body is a machine. It's constantly working. It's working when you're awake. It's working when you're asleep. But it has a certain rhythm of how it does that. So in doing that and adding all these factors like stress and eating improperly, we're overloading the system. And just like any other machine, it starts to back up. So we start to see those effects in our skin, on our tongue. When you stick your tongue out and it's all full of white, that's the digestive system having issues.
I've known about the tongue being the barometer forever. I mean, I do have a degree in food science. I don't know if that's a part of it, but every day I check my tongue. And Howard almost laughs at me. It's like, what's with the tongue? And every day I feel like that's such an amazing, simple monitor for you to understand how your body's doing today. Like if you need to communicate to your body, look at your tongue. I know acupuncturists, that's the first thing they do when you go to an acupuncture treatment, stick out your tongue. And so I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's like a daily practice for me.
Yeah. It's a white coin. It's caused by like bacteria, debris, cells. It's a natural process. It's something that we should be taking care of. And that's why you have tools like a tongue brush or a tongue scraper. Holistically, when you get up in the morning, you should be drinking warm water or hot tea, which helps to wash all that down the system so you can get rid of it more effectively.
I think that's great. Well, and of course, water. I mean, let's just talk about that alone as the best purger of all purgers. That I'm convinced that the majority of the population does not drink the amount of water they should be.
Yes and no. Water, as we know, going into the supermarket comes in many forms now. Mm-hmm. You can get electrolyte water. You can get distilled water. You can get vitamin-infused water. Yes.
Yeah.
Alkaline water, yes. So although your intake of water should be appropriate, you also have to be mindful of what kind of water. Because you don't have to just walk around all day with a gallon of water to get your intake. You can find it in other things like soup, tea, watermelon, which is a very good fruit. There are other sources that you can draw from, natural sources you can draw from, not just your water bottle. And then there are other factors like BPA, what your water is coming in, and the things that your water is absorbing before it gets to you.
I don't know if you've seen those videos. There's been so many going around on YouTube where just home people do their own tests and they take 20 different brands and check the alkalinity and the acidity of them. And I've watched several of them now, and they all kind of have the same results. And it's just shocking how many are so acidic and how few are pH balanced or alkaline. It's just surprising. So I think what you're saying is so spot on. It's not, you got to really look to make sure you're putting the right substance in your body that your body understands and processes. What else can we do in terms of detoxing a toxic backed up system that's been overrun by processed foods or GMO food or anything that's not in alignment with the natural flow of who we are?
Well, one of the primary things that we can do is read a label. What does it mean when you're reading your labels? Generally speaking, the first item on the label is what the largest percentage in whatever that product is. If you can't pronounce it, it doesn't mean it's bad for you, but you need to know what it means. You can have a product that says all natural on it and still have that one ingredient in it that's a carcinogen. And by using that product, you're introducing that carcinogen into your body and its cumulative effects. Something simple like nail polish, right? We have a movement now. We're becoming more educated about the types of nail polish that we put on because we never realized that things on your nail actually soak into your bloodstream through the matrix. So if you have nail polish that has formaldehyde in it, guess what's slowly soaking into your bloodstream? Formaldehyde, which is used to embalm people. Something like deodorants. Deodorants with aluminum in it clog up the pores that your lymph system uses to excrete toxins. So while your lymph system is working, if you plug up the ways it gets rid of your toxins, then you're actually allowing the toxins to stay longer in your system. The things that we eat, GMOs, I really don't want to speak about because that information is still being processed. And it usually takes, from my understanding, 20 years or more to really understand the long-term effects of anything. But GMO, we don't know for sure how it affects us negatively. So that's the big push to eat the things you know and not really deal too much with the things you don't know. Organic choices, we understand that. We understand that there are no pesticides used there that are harmful to the body. So whenever you can make an organic choice, that helps with the system because you're not dealing with adding those chemicals into your body, into your system, building up those toxins.
What about drinks? We've talked about food. I know we only have a minute left, but just in a nutshell, anything you want to touch on in terms of what we drink versus eat?
Correct. We have to make conscious choices about everything that we put into the body because it's all accumulative. Something simple like what types of water we drink, whether it's electrolyte infused or carbonated, non-carbonated, distilled, alkaline, all these things affect the body differently. And making that right choice, something like Coke, which is not new news, can take the rust off of a penny. Not sure I have any rust in me to get rid of, but I do love the taste of Coke. So that's a conscious choice, putting those types of chemicals in your body. Different teas, the sources of your teas, is something that we should be doing consciously. Teas, I bring up teas because the organic versus the non-organic, if they're using pesticides to grow the leaves versus not, tea in itself is a good thing, but your sources, that's a conscious choice. And you're adding those things into your system and accumulating those things into your system.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to wrap up some overall best practices about how to stay toxic-free if we can, but it sounds like what you're saying, it's cumulative, but what can we do to continue to work in reducing this in our body. You're listening to Zeta Global Radio. Thank you so much for being here all day with us. Take a listen to some of our beautiful advertisers here on ZGR. We'll be back in a moment.
Spiritual Communities Network, where we honor the uniqueness in our oneness. Visit our website to meet our vast spiritual community of healers, therapists, conscious events, and activities. Visit and check out our directory, upcoming retreats, workshops, products, free videos, and much more. Many services are available globally by phone, Skype, and other sources of media. You'll also find more information on how you can be a member to promote the work you're doing in the world. Visit us now at spiritualcommunitiesnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Zeta Global Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are here. Last segment. I can go on, and I know you've got hours and hours of information. You got to write a book, Lucille, about what you know. That would be so... there's just so much to talk about. I know that we were just saying off air how you can't just focus on one area of your life. You can't just meditate and pray all day and then you go and eat a bag of popcorn with caramel on it and Coke. It's like, isn't it so true how every part has to be in balance? Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical.
Yes, absolutely. They're all driven by each other. So if we walk through it, it would be, okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm watching what's going on in the world. Right now it's a really sad time, especially in our nation, but all around the world, which causes me a feeling of sadness. The sadness actually causes me a sense of stress. Now my hormone levels are changing, as well as my attitude changes because of that distress that I've just visually taken in. So now I'm looking as a response to feel better. And what I choose to put into my body helps that process. So if I ate something that's clean, let's say, a salad or just something clean without any pesticides or something like that, that can actually change the chemicals in my body to help me physically feel better. And by physically feeling better, that helps me lift my depressed emotional veil and gives me a clearer or a less foggy mental state, which then changes my attitude. And by changing my attitude, I'm changing the way I am perceived in the world and how I react to others and how others react to me. It's like an endless chain. Mm-hmm. But if I went the other way and ate something not so clean, say something that tastes really awesome, like a piece of cake with lots of icing, and then turn around and had like a really gorgeous slice of Sicilian pizza, something like that, or some kind of root vegetable, which for Latinos is like the yuca, which is very high in carbohydrates, that kind of thing. And that kind of makes me feel good, and for the moment, I feel full, I feel satisfied initially. But then the chemical reactions start to happen, lots of carbs on board, I start to feel sort of sluggish, dragging, I start to get a mental fog, I don't react to things with as much as a positive energy as I could. I'm perceived as looking tired, in some cases looking stressed, even though I'm not physically feeling stressed in the moment. Mm-hmm. And then it radiates, right? It radiates through my skin. Of course, it changes my metabolic system. So now the way my body is filtering is slowed down. So it causes a chain reaction all around. So the negative that you're bringing in with your food, let's say, causes negative effects in your body, which causes negative effects in your mental state, which causes negative effect in your I could say spiritual state, because it changes your positive outlook. So yeah, it's accumulative throughout the day. Every move that we make, either consciously or unconsciously.
I was thinking about a girlfriend, and I'm not going to call her out. I love her. I know she's probably listening. And she and I have been on, I've been on a particular regimen right now to do everything that you're talking about, to get the metabolism back on balance, reduce some levels of hormones, put everything back, at organs functioning properly. Anyway, she actually turned me on to the diet, and she went off of it. She told me she, over the weekend, before she starts, she ate a bunch of donuts from our favorite donut store. I won't say because I don't want to call her out. But my point of it all is she did all these things about eating donuts because she knew Monday that was it, back online. And then she said how crappy she felt. And I said, well, yeah. But it's like, I think so many of us play these mind negotiations about like, well, if I do this, it's okay because tomorrow I do that. But I keep going back to what you're saying about cumulative. It's like, let's just claim it right now. None of it's good. When we know it's not good, especially to binge on donuts, even though they are amazing. But you know what I'm saying. It's like everything's cumulative, and I think that's your point. And I just want to thank you for everything you've shared today. And I know in the few minutes we have left, I want to talk about what you're doing this month, because this is at your holistic spa. This is the month of really honoring the body through detox. That means getting detox services. You have an event on the 28th. So let's talk about that.
Great. So our event on the 28th is going to be talking about a lot of the things we've already covered today, how the body accumulates toxins, both outside and inside, emotionally as well as spiritually, something like energy vampires, that sort of thing. And the simple, basic things you can do on a daily basis that will help bring you to a holistic wellness. We will be doing certain things throughout the event, but we're also going to offer, for those people who attend, we're going to be offering a detox package, which includes a detox facial, lymphatic drainage massage. If you haven't had that, that's a really awesome thing to get. Detox body wrap, an ionic foot bath. An ionic foot bath is just another way of detoxing the body and helping rev up the metabolic system. The regular rate for that is $450, and we'll be giving a special rate for doing that package. If you buy the package, you don't have to use it right away. Some of those therapies take at least an hour to do. You can do them one at a time throughout the year, or all in one day and give yourself an amazing spa day. But we will honor that rate if you buy the package that day. And if it's something that you want to explore, that would be the perfect option. We also have other information that we offer at the spa in terms of ways to detox. But that day it's gonna be hopefully a really good turnout, and I'm really happy to be able to give that information out because it's so important, especially now when we're dealing with everything we talked about in the program.
So we're going to have information about the event, which is on October 28th. We'll have that at the Zeta Global Radio Facebook page. And also we can go direct our folks over to Trice Massage Therapy and Skincare, correct?
Correct.
Actually, there's so many ways to get hold of you. Do you want to direct them to your Facebook page or to your website? What's best for you?
The Facebook page.
Great. Okay, good. So we'll go ahead and post all that on Zeta Global Radio Facebook page. We also have that. And if you, in our Zeta Global Radio's Deeper Dive, if you haven't been to the Deeper Dive, I highly encourage you. Lucille's in there. All of our guests, or a good majority of the guests who come on our show, are in that group. And you can actually, after the show, ask more questions, get to know. You want to know more about the events. We go a little bit deeper than our conversations allow because we only have an hour and we can talk about this on and on. So we go in there. So if you haven't been to our Facebook page for our Zeta Global's Deeper Dive, I highly encourage you to do that. There's a great group of men and women in there. So with that said, thank you so much, Lucille, for everything. I'm very much looking forward to coming to your event on the 28th. I'm looking to many other people come to that as well, and getting a chance to spend time working with you and getting the different services that you offer. And I hope to have you back on the show soon enough.
Great. Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Zeta Global Radio. I hope you found this enlightening, supportive, and helping you to buffer some of the things that we've been experiencing lately. I also want to throw in one more thing before we go, the importance of baths, because it just occurred to me how important, for me, bath therapy is. And I don't know if you want to say one last thing before we go on it, and then we'll call it good.
Sure. Baths are a tool for meditation to help release the stresses in the mind and calm thought and induce relaxation. But they can also be used for detoxing and relieving tension in the body. Epsom salt is a long time type of bath that people use, especially in sports medicine, to get rid of lactic acid buildup, which causes muscle inflammation. And the Epsom salt itself is magnesium salt, which the body definitely can use within the nervous system and the muscular system. So other than that, it smells wonderful when you use salts like your Finn's salt.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.